Hey my Patriot friends, welcome back to Colonial Guerrillas. Before we get into today's video, make sure to comment, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you get notified when I post a new video. I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Let's get started with today's video. So sorry my hair's wet, I just got out of the shower, so yeah. That's why my hair's wet. But let's get into today's video. So today I'm going to be reading from my favorite history book of all time. I think it's even better than the school history books, but that's my opinion. So, as you know, I'm only 14 and in 8th grade. Well, I'm ready to graduate in like a couple weeks. Ready to graduate middle school in a couple weeks, but here's 1778, Forging an Army. Alrighty. So, let's get into it. The American upstarts were in the fight of their lives. Professional British troops were marching across the colonies like columns of red ants, and the farmers and shopkeepers and tradesmen who made up the colonial militias and regiments. The Continental Army were in a fearful scramble just to keep from being demolished. By the end of 1777, they were huddled into their miserable winter camp at Valley Forge on the Schuylkill River, where miles from Philadelphia. In that fair city, the British Army's winter quarters were snug, warm, and well provisioned. Almost, the colonial soldiers could hear the echo of merry songs and laughter drifting along the river, borne on the scent of tobacco, wood smoke, and roasted meats. At Valley Forge, the Americans were starving in unheated log huts. By January, they were frozen and sick and nearly ready to give up. The British Army was too formidable. The price of liberty too high. But word of the ambitious dreams of the Americans had reached across the ocean, and friends of independence were arriving to give aid to General Washington. From France came young, flamboyant Marquis de Lafayette. Lafayette means we're here now. Well, in modern day, it means we're here. From Poland came Casimir Pulaski, and from Prussia came Baron Frederick von Steuben. His friendship took one look at paltry cooking facilities at Valley Forge camp and quit on the spot. Sorry, I'm not very good at speaking French or any of those languages, so bear with me here. The army camp didn't faze Baron von Steuben. However, he was prepared for anything. He claimed to be a baron, and he claimed to have been quartermaster general with years of experience to King Frederick II of Prussia. In fact, he was neither a nobleman nor a high-ranking officer, but it made no matter. He knew soldiering, and he knew how to train troops. Unfortunately, Baron von Steuben did not know how to speak English. He spoke German and spoke French, but not a word of English. Teach my men how to fight, Washington begged him through an aide in French. The general had until spring to turn the motley collection of colonial regiments into a real army. The British would not regroup themselves for battle until the weather turned milder, so while they sipped hot rum and toasted their toes at Philadelphia hearths, the Continentals had to use the time to their advantage. The bogus baron jumped to his task, but how to communicate with American troops? With the assistance of two officers who spoke French, von Steuben translated parade ground drill commands into simple English. These he memorizes and shouted at the top of his lungs as he began training the troops. But first, the stubborn and independent Americans insisted on being told why they ought to follow his orders. You say to your soldier, do this, and he does it. Von Steuben wrote to a friend in Europe, but I am obliged to say, this is the reason why you ought to do that, and then he does it. By night, von Steuben entertained the officers with his greyhound, Azor, who howled by bad singers. By day, von Steuben drilled his troops, sometimes becoming infuriated by poor performance, that he forgot his English and cursed wildly in French and German, galloping his horse around the parade ground like a madman. Once he even called his aides, "My dear Walker, My dear Ponceau, come and swear for me in French. In English, sorry. These fellows won't do what I bid them. In the end, it didn't matter what language he swore in. The patriots knew what he meant. As one captain said to him in the evening, you howled and swore, and looked so dreadfully at me once when my platoon was out of its place, that I almost melted into water. Von Steuben taught the fife and drum corps new musical commands, singing them out loud because he couldn't write music. He taught the soldiers how to carry their muskets properly at the march, how to load and fire, how to fix bayonets, how to form columns and deploy themselves on the battleground, how to turn and march and fire as one fighting force. And in order to get as many soldiers trained as possible, von Steuben trained units that could then turn around and train other units in snow and cold with short rations and ragged clothes. The troops drilled and marched and trained at Valley Forge under the glowering gaze of the bad-tempered Persian or whatever. By spring, von Steuben had taken the ragtag and bedraggled colonial troops and forged them into a disciplined army that no longer feared the British and in the end would chase them out of America. Note, von Steuben's training instructions were translated, complied, and printed into a manual known as the Blue Book. It was the basis of the U.S. Army training unit until the Civil War. I did not know that. So here's a picture from this page. And here is a picture from this page. So, fun fact. In the Revolutionary War time, when the troops were marching into battle, what they would do is they would have fifes and drums so that the other forces they were fighting knew that they were coming. It was mostly the British forces because back then the British was the most powerful military in the world, so they knew what they had to do. But yeah, that's what happened, you know? That's what happened. Unfortunately, back then, they didn't have any electricity, so they couldn't contact their loved ones. But now we have Skype. But that's it for today's video. Make sure to comment, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on your post notifications so you get notified when I post a new video. I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Please subscribe, because the more subscribers I get, you can ask me questions on my Instagram. If you know what it is, I'm going to tell you what it is. So you viewers can ask me questions about history. Or about the Revolutionary War, rather. It's all lowercase colonial_girlliz07. So go and ask me questions on my Instagram. And make sure to subscribe so you get notified when I post a new video, and turn on your post notifications. I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Peace out, my patriot friends.